They better get these lines right. Hey y'all, it's Zephyr Scalzetti. Welcome to They Better Get These Lines Right, where we're delivering the 411 on all things redistricting. Redistricting is our once-in-a-decade process of accounting for state-level population changes across the country to draw new district maps from the federal level to the local level, which makes an impact on how funding is distributed for healthcare, schools, and roads. Basically, everything that's important to you. This show is made possible by Alabama Values, a grassroots communications organization that uses the media and visual stories to raise awareness around what's happening on Alabama's political scene. On today's episode, we're going back to school to dive into gerrymandering. You've probably heard the term gerrymandering, but what is gerrymandering? The cut and dry definition is to manipulate the boundaries of a district so as to favor one group over another. In the last episode, we talked a little about racial and partisan gerrymandering, but are those the only types of gerrymandering? Keep listening to find out. The word gerrymander is a combination of the name Gerry and salamander. Who's Gerry? And why a salamander? In 1812, Elbridge Gerry, then governor of Massachusetts, became famous for all the wrong reasons. See, as governor, he approved a redistricting plan for the Massachusetts State Senate that clearly benefited his own party, the Democratic Republicans. Yes, you heard that right. His political party was named the Democratic Republicans. Side history lesson. The Democratic Republican Party, known at the time as the Republican Party, and also referred to as the Jeffersonian Republican Party, was founded by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison in the early 1790s. They championed ideas of political freedom and equality and expansionism, such as republicanism, the idea of government where the power resides with the people, and agrarianism, which is the movement to preserve traditional rural communities. The Democratic Republicans divided during the 1824 presidential election. The majority of the party eventually united to the modern Democratic Party of today, with the rest becoming the Whig Party, a conservative political party that existed during the mid-19th century. Back to the matter at hand. Gerry, the governor of Massachusetts, was trying to use the redistricting process to cement their own party's political power in the state. One of the districts in Boston was so distorted, people said it looked like a mythical salamander. A political cartoon of the district added wings and claws and dubbed the monster a gerrymander. Over time, Gerry became Gerry, and the rest is history. Before we can talk more about what gerrymandering is, we've got to set some ground rules. Specifically, what are the rules for drawing fair and equitable redistricting maps? Rule number 1, one person, one vote. This is the name we give to the concept that districts should be roughly equal in size so that every person's vote counts the same. Imagine you're planning a pizza party, and you want to make sure everyone gets a fair share of the pizza. You have multiple tables set up for people to sit at. Some tables are round, some are rectangular, but every table gets one pizza box to share. To ensure fairness, everyone at the table should split the pizza in the box evenly amongst themselves. Everyone should get a slice of pizza. But if too many people are crowded together at one table, they won't be able to get a slice each. And if only a few people are sitting at the table, they'll all get extra slices of pizza. When you plan the party, you need to make sure that the number of people sitting at each table is roughly equal, or everyone won't get a slice of pizza. Just like different shaped tables at the party, districts can have different shapes as long as the same number of people live in them. This is why balanced districts are important. You have to have roughly the same number of people in each district, or else the power of the vote will not be equally distributed. This is why we redistrict after the decennial census, to make sure that districts are still roughly equal. Rule number 2, no discrimination on the basis of race. We owe this rule to the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and this is why racial gerrymandering is illegal. And that's it. Those are the only federal rules around redistricting, and they aren't really rules at all. Most of our protections around redistricting are set via precedents through many, many Supreme Court cases, such as Shelby v. Holder, Moore v. Harper, Ardoin v. Robinson, and Allen v. Milligan. Check out episode 3, SCOTUS State of Mind, to learn more about those cases. So when we talk about gerrymandering, what we're really talking about is a series of methods that unscrupulous people use to circumvent the rules and benefit one group of people over another. As we identify more ways bad actors use to decrease the power of the vote, we can categorize those methods as types of gerrymandering. For example, we'll commonly talk about racial gerrymandering, partisan gerrymandering, student or campus gerrymandering, prison gerrymandering, economic gerrymandering, and bipartisan gerrymandering. Let's break this down just a little bit more. Racial gerrymandering, aka drawing districts to disadvantage a group of people based on their race. Reminder, this is the only kind of gerrymander in this list that is illegal. Partisan gerrymandering, aka drawing districts to benefit one party over another, just like Governor Gary, legal. Student and campus gerrymandering, aka drawing districts that dilute student votes, especially on HBCU campuses, legal. Prison gerrymandering, aka drawing districts that use incarcerated people in jails and prisons to distort representation, legal. Economic gerrymandering, which is drawing districts to benefit one socioeconomic class over another, aka benefiting rich people and disadvantaging poor people, legal. Bipartisan gerrymandering, which is when incumbents trade neighborhoods between themselves to increase their chances of getting reelected, legal. We're going to get more into these specific types of gerrymanders in future episodes, especially how they impact us here in Alabama. Districts can incorporate many different kinds of gerrymanders, and because of the white supremacist history of the United States, many of these types of gerrymanders work together. For now, we're going to talk about the intersection of racial gerrymandering and partisan gerrymandering. So again, while racial gerrymandering is illegal, it is still legal to gerrymander districts based on political party. That means you could stand before the US Supreme Court and declare that you drew this district to make sure no Democrats would be elected, or to specifically prevent Republicans from winning seats, and that's perfectly legal, at least federally. The problem, beyond the fact that you shouldn't be able to do this in the first place, is that statistically there are significant overlaps between someone's race and their party affiliation. For example, in Alabama, according to the Pew Research Center, 56% of Democrats in Alabama are black, and only 37% of Alabama Democrats are white. So you could draw districts to disenfranchise Democrats, and in doing so, you could also disenfranchise black voters. One caveat though, racial gerrymandering is illegal regardless of intent. That means if your districts discriminate against black voters, you don't need to prove that they were trying to hurt black voters. The results are enough. The problem is that because there aren't a lot of cut and dry rules around what constitutes discriminating against black voters, that gap has been filled by legal precedents. Remember our previous episode, episode 3, on the redistricting cases currently before the Supreme Court? Alabama and Louisiana's cases are based on racial gerrymandering. North Carolina's case centers around partisan gerrymandering because they have a state law prohibiting partisan gerrymandering. Speaking of the Supreme Court, SCOTUS is expected to provide a ruling on Alabama's case, Allen v. Milligan, and North Carolina's case, Moore v. Harper, anytime between now and June 26th. Whatever the outcome may be, advocates will continue to fight for voting rights, which is one of the cornerstones of our democracy. Tune in next time to They Better Get These Lines Right to stay connected and informed. The way the maps are drawn has an impact on so many issues that we care about, such as voting rights, healthcare, criminal justice, reproductive justice, and education equality. Until next time, they better get these lines right.